chucks Edward off of a 20-foot ledge and kills him dead over this thing. So, yeah, Jim walks free because the police are like, well, this is clearly self-defense. There's a knife right there. That's about as far as the investigation went. He didn't even get charged. Yeah. Like, well, there's a knife. No mention of the fact that perhaps Jim had the knife. We don't really know. They just know there's a dead guy. I don't know the DNA
is sophisticated at this time. I'm sure that it's not.
Yeah, so... You are listening to Tape Spaghetti, the podcast about the twisted and tangled innards of the music industry. Some of this content may not be for all listeners or viewers, so if it's not for you, no harm, no foul. We'll just catch you on the next one. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of Tape Spaghetti. I am Scott Marquardt. That is Blake Weiland, and we are here today, as always, to talk to you about interesting musical history and things. I don't actually know what we're talking about today, so the listeners out there know more about me because it's something in the title. It has been hidden from me.
Yes. Today we have a rather interesting topic, but before I get into it, how's Scott been?
Scott's been all right, man. I mean, it's the new year. I've been doing dry January, which is fun. I mean, you and I have talked about this before, but it's always a strange thing when you're like, I'm doing dry January, and it makes it sound like, you're just like, normally I'm drunk all the time, which I am not. But
we went over that heavily last episode.
We did. It just keeps coming up for me, But no, that's been nice.
I'm distinctly not sober.
I've been sleeping really well. That's been really good. I can't complain outside of it just being cold.
Yeah. What's the temperature right there? Or there right now?
When I woke up this morning, it was like 28. I mean, I'm from the norther parts of the country. So I grew up with it, but I'm a little out of practice with the cold.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we kind of swapped. We were pretty cold for the last week. Cold, the famous Pacific Northwest, 36 degrees and pouring down rain. The worst combination of everything.
That sounds awful. That sounds so much worse than snow.
It is. It's way worse. But we've turned the corner, and it looks like we're just going to be the crisp, cool, but sunny situation, which I quite like. That's a good thing for me. Yeah, it's great.
Walking How are things outside. in Weiland land? In the Weiland cinematic universe?
Well, as you can imagine, Scott, I have a little less to do than you do for this, but my brain has fully shifted to NAMM mode. And for the listeners that follow our gear company, Stringjoy, you probably know what that is. But for all the other listeners, basically all of the people that make musical products in the entire world, well, maybe not the entire world, but a good chunk of the world, descend upon Anaheim, California to talk to each other about it. That is basically what happens.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a big event. There's hundreds of thousands of people that go there. We do it every year, and it occupies a lot of our brain space when it's coming up. We're talking about where we're going to be, who we're going to try to see, what things we're going to try to do, the meetings we're going to try to have. It is an energy drain. So I say all that to say, if Scott and I get a little off schedule because of NAMM, it's a distinct possibility, though we are doing our best to get well ahead, and maybe that won't happen. But
yeah, because what always happens,
us a disclaimer,
is to the uninitiated, is that people from, as Blake said, all over the entire world come together in one spot and spit on each other for 4 days. And about half the time, in my like 10-ish years of going, about 50% of the time, I and everyone else comes down with some horrible, unspeakable disease afterwards that wastes the next like 1 to 2 weeks of your life. So I'm always like a little prepared for that. But you know what I'm really excited about, Blake?
What's that?
I've learned over the years of doing this that the best way for me to get through all this is to have this big trade show thing and then create like a 2.5 week buffer for aforementioned potential sicknesses. And then I take a full 1 week vacation, which is kind of rare for me. And so I'm excited. I'm very excited about that. I'm already there in my brain.
Where are you going?
I am going to Grenada, the lovely island not too far from Venezuela, a very quiet part of the world right now. Not Grenada, Spain, rather, but Grenada, the lovely island nation that the U.S. invaded in the early 80s. It's my happy place. It's great. I went there last year, and it was so nice that I'm going back again. I can't wait. It was
so nice you're doing it twice.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just delightful. It's quiet. It's not overly touristed like a lot of the islands down there. So it's just a beautiful jungle island, and I stay on this like side of a cliff overlooking the ocean, and it's just heaven.
Wow, that sounds nice.
I can't wait.
Sounds real nice. That's great. I'm gonna be here, being like, what am I gonna do? I don't have my 2-hour phone call with Scott this week. I don't know how I'm gonna fill my days. I'll just sit here and cry. That's what I'll do.
God, that sounds bleak.
That's what I'm gonna.
You're gonna have a rough week.
That's what I'm gonna do. Every time you're gone, that's what I do until you get back.
Oh, shucks. Well, I'm not gone yet, Blake. Treasure the time that you have with me.
Okay, will do. And I look forward to spending a whole lot more time with you next week, as if we could do that any more than we already do somehow. But let's get into this episode. We are actually going to go down to California for this episode.
Whoa.
We are talking about a record label, a restaurant, a cult, and a man named Jim Bakker. Yeah, we're talking about The Source is what we're talking about. Yeah. Jim Bakker is not the fake Christian soup enthusiast who maybe you may be thinking of at this particular moment.
Okay, time out. What?
Tammy Faye and Jim Bakker. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Tammy Faye's partner.
Yeah. I say soup enthusiast because his video of him sampling his doomsday soups out of his buckets has been making the rounds on social media again, where he's literally got 5-gallon buckets of soups lined up in front of him, and he takes a ladle and dips it down into each bucket. And there's one in particular, he's like, picks it up and he takes a slurp, very audibly takes a slurp into the microphone. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. And this is after he has already been kind of exposed as a fraud, which probably should have been obvious in the beginning. But
yeah, I'm looking at what a face. He has a soup eating face.
He's a soup enthusiast.
I can just imagine him sticking that mouth right into a 5-gallon bucket of soup.
Yeah, so he's got this is a complete sidebar that has nothing to do with today's story, except for they share.
Can we talk about this Jim Bakker instead of the other Jim Bakker?
There's probably some musical connections to that too, to be perfectly honest. But in this particular soup-based episode of the Jim Bakker saga, he's not only sampling the soups on stage, he's got all these 5-gallon soup containers sitting on the stage. He's like, and you know what you can do with them? Look what we've done with them. Check it out. And he's like, you just get a piece of cardboard or a piece of plywood, set it on top here, and you just cover it. You just cover it with this whole, like, he's got like 20 of them kind of spread out wide. So he sets the cardboard or the plywood on top, and then puts a sheet over it, and is like, look, you got yourself an end table.
I was certain you were going to say it's like your latrine for your doomsday bunker. Because I mean, that's what you use them 5-gallon buckets for.
That is what he sells is doomsday prepping solutions. Not all of which I'm super convinced will work, but they're there. Not a fan of that guy. But it's really funny though. If you watch them, it's really funny.
It's pretty funny. I know what I'm going to be doing later. Anyway, the thing that you came here to actually talk about.
Not that Jim Bakker, another Jim Bakker. Another Jim Bakker who started a health food restaurant, murdered 2 people. He used drugs and mind control, and he used music as a form of like worship and obedience training, where the musicians themselves were not allowed to have any ego whatsoever, and they weren't supposed to practice. Skill was frowned upon, yet it was an integral part of their society. So, or integral, that's how you'd say that word. There we go. I did it right. Yeah, he became known as Father Yod. I've heard it pronounced Father Yod and Father Yod, Y-O-D. I'm probably going to flip-flop it throughout this episode. He was born July 4th of July, our Independence Day, in Cincinnati, Ohio, or Toledo, Ohio, depending on who you ask. It's one of those situations.
It's an interesting thing to be a debatable question.
His whole life is debatable. He is a very untrustworthy source of his own information.
Have I ever told you how much I like Cincinnati?
The chili or the city?
Not the chili.
Not
the city,
chili.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, over the Rhine, especially like more recent years, it's developed in this really, really, really cool spot. Big fan of Over the Rhine, Cincinnati. Need to go back there.
Okay. I don't even know what you're talking about. Is that a restaurant?
No, it's a neighborhood in town. It feels like you're in like a miniature version, like a little slice of Brooklyn. Yeah. Just right there, square in the middle of Cincinnati. And you got I would say a pretty good casino right there. Right in the middle of it.
Yeah. You win buckets of soup.
Yeah, I often am very grateful that I don't live in a city that has a casino in it. I do like to spend some time in a casino, but only like on a vacation where it's appropriate. I would hate to be like, it's a Friday night in the place that I live, I'm going to the casino. That doesn't seem like a good path for me.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. I don't want to be. Well, actually, I take that back. When they have an all-you-can-eat seafood bar, I become suddenly very interested. That does get me.
Daddy likes some craps. Daddy likes to play the craps. Likes to throw the dice. Likes to be at the table.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan. Yeah, yeah,
that's fair. To each their own. I kind of hate it, but that's a subject for another day.
I've only lost money, I think, once.
Well, if that was the case, then I would love it.
Yeah, losing money is like, this is terrible and I hate it.
Yeah, every time I play, I'm like, I could have done literally anything else with that $10, but I gave it to that guy for some reason. So see you later. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to go with Cincinnati because that is the most cited source. Not that it really matters, but he was raised primarily by his mother, Cora. His father leaves in very early childhood. And I think that is a little bit of foreshadowing for how he treats everything once he becomes an adult. Mm-hmm. So his father leaves. By most people's accounts, he's just a deadbeat dad that took off. But Jim can't really accept that. So he claims his father was a very advanced Chicago detective and was on the prowl of some gangsters and who was going to bring them to justice. And they got a hold of him and murdered him. That's what Jim's story is. There is literally zero evidence to support this whatsoever. But it was, way back in the day, reports were not as consistent. I still think if he was a Chicago detective, there would be some paper trail linking him to that
One
profession.
would think. Yeah.
So not really a thing. So as he gets older, he becomes obsessed with physical strength. He's really into the idea of being physically strong.
Sounds like somebody I know.
Huh. Who? I don't know anybody like that. I do got squat session later. I promise I'm not going to sell you soup though. I'm going to keep bringing up the soup.
I don't want any of your squat soup.
High protein.
Nope. No, thank you.
Come on. Cincinnati squat soup. Enjoy it. So, anyhow, he becomes obsessed with physical strength. And this is a very strange thing that keeps getting cited. I cannot find record of what this competition entails. I don't know if it's a powerlifting thing. I don't know if it's more of a traditional strongman thing. But he wins a youth strength competition called America's Strongest Boy. So, yeah, I don't know what constitutes a boy in this, like what the age limit is. I'm not sure what the actual lifts or feats of strength he achieved were. There's almost no details on it, but it's cited all the time that Jim Baker was America's strongest boy.
Wow, he won.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So yeah, he obviously internalizes that strength is like a moral virtue, and he really, really, really loves that idea. And he meets a guy where he's grown up named Paul Bragg. This might sound somewhat familiar to you. I know you're a guy who pays a little attention to his health and wellness. You perhaps heard the name Bragg.
The apple cider vinegar people?
Yep, that's them. Yep, Paul Bragg. Bragg is a big fan of raw foods, fasting, obviously apple cider vinegar. I think his brand later did coconut aminos, though I don't know if that had anything to do with him.
I've seen those as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like both those things. I actually probably have them in my cupboard right now. But yeah, Paul Bragg basically becomes a surrogate father for Jim. And he's just kind of instilling like this very holistic, natural way of thinking about health. And some people say he might have been a little bit obsessive about it. He was a vegetarian before most people knew what a vegetarian even was. This is like, I think, the 1930s.
Wow.
So yeah, it kind of sets the early philosophical seed of the source, which comes later.
There were, I'm trying to remember, like some sects of Christianity were vegetarian even then. Like, was it like the Christian Science people?
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. I know there are some where that's been a thing.
You're right. This is kind of ringing a bell in my brain, but I don't remember which division of Christianity or Christianity.
Oh, wait.
Christianity
is it Jehovah's Witnesses? Hold on. We're going to find out.
Okay. He's going
Seventh-day Adventists. That's what I was thinking of.
The no birthday people.
I think that's the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, it's the Jehovah's Witness? I thought the Seventh-day Adventists
I think they're pretty related. I have a friend who grew up Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
And she was telling me they're like maybe one split off the other.
Okay.
So maybe they also are no birthday people.
Maybe.
No
But
meat, no birthdays. That's not how you're going to get Blake Weil into your religion, let me tell you.
That's right. What do you mean I don't get to celebrate with copious amounts of meat?
This is the ridiculous way that I do it.
Yeah, that's the only way I know how. A birthday cake made of hamburger. That is how we do it. Anyway, moving on. So Jim grows up a little bit. I think he's still like an older teenager at this point. And his mother, this is a very foggy, weird part of his history. His mother meets a formerly incarcerated judo instructor. And again, this is really early. Most people are not familiar with a lot of martial arts in the United States at this point. It's not as commonplace. So he meets this judo instructor and starts training under him. And eventually he gets to an actual judo gym. And supposedly, this is according to Jim, he won multiple championship titles. He was like a big player in the judo world at that time until he broke his back, supposedly. I don't know if this is like a Mike Tyson broke his back.
The bat's back?
Yeah, I broke the back. What do you mean you broke your back? It's spinal. Like, I don't know if it was that situation or what it was, but he claims he broke his back, which also may be some foreshadowing. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Again, claims are inconsistent, but he's definitely a physically imposing guy and definitely does know some judo moves. That much is clear. So how much of this is fact and fiction is a little confusing. As he gets older, he joins the Marines. World War II is on and he is a Marine. Now, pretty much any Marine, at least the ones that I've met, pretty hardcore people. So I'm going to say he's probably a pretty hardcore guy. However, he seems to want to amplify his story, perhaps even larger than it really is.
I'm catching that drift in general here with a lot of these things.
Yeah. So there's a lot of various tales of like, I rescued this guy and we broke in and we did this operation and this blah, 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 blah. And everything was the most peak masculine, physical specimen of a Marine you could possibly imagine.
I don't get what it is with these people. I mean, like I've known a number of people in my life who are just liars, and it's not to say I don't like them. I often do, and it's fine. It doesn't exclude them from being a friend of mine. But people who just like don't need to lie, but do, like they've done like this much, and they just have to like lie and say it was this much for no clear reason. It seems like a genetic thing or something. People just can't help it.
I think you and I are both thinking of two of the same people right now, one of which,
probably,
may or may not have some tangential relationship to this story, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that one off the air. Anyway, so he gets out of the Marines. He's kind of bouncing around to the legendary Topanga Canyon in around 1955. So we're yada-yadaing over like a lot of kind of mysterious 1940s activities. Who knows what he was doing exactly? It's a little unclear. So 1955, he's bebopping around California, and he gets asked to look after a dog by a fella named Edward Bullinger. And so the guy's going on some sort of trip, and asks Jim to look after his dog. When he gets home, he finds that Jim has been keeping the dog outside. And apparently that was not part of the deal. I don't know what kind of dog this is.
Oh.
I don't think outside in Topanga Canyon is necessarily the most extreme environment. So I'm not really sure. Right. Yeah. But this is according to Jim.
And it often seems like when you go back in time, like dogs were always outside. I'm not sure at what point dogs like migrated their way into the home, but it always seems like back in the day they had like a dog house.
Well, and I think it's a lot different if you're keeping a Chihuahua outside in Alaska or a Husky. You know, they're built for different things, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of dog this was or why he was so upset, but apparently the tempers flared so much that Bullinger busted out an 8-inch like Bowie knife and it was like, "That's it, we're going to town," which seems extreme to me. Like, you didn't watch my dog the way I wanted you to. Now, maybe it was a lot worse. Maybe he didn't feed it. Who knows? Again, this is Jim telling the story because Jim uses some judo techniques and chucks Edward off of a 20-foot ledge and kills him dead over this thing. So, yeah, Jim walks free because the police are like, "Well, this is clearly self-defense. There's a knife right there." That's about as far as the investigation went. He didn't even get charged. Yeah. Like, well, there's a knife. No mention of the fact that perhaps Jim had the knife. We don't really know. They just know there's a dead guy. I don't know the
DNA is sophisticated at this time. I'm sure that it's not. They had fingerprinting a good while back, but
yeah, I don't think there was a lot of DNA testing, and I guess it seemed pretty cut and dry to them. And as we will get into, Jim's a pretty charismatic guy. You want to like go along with what he's saying. So
yeah, and when you're like, it's a he said, well, one of the he's is dead. I guess it's just what this guy says.
There's not a lot for him to say, is there?
Yeah, I can't get this other guy's story, so I've got to go with whatever this guy said.
Yeah, so that's his first killing. So he opens a restaurant called the Aware Inn on Sunset Boulevard, and this is what you would expect from him: Whole Foods, fresh juices, like
what year-ish are we in right now? What decade?
We're still in the 50s. I want to say 50s? This is around 57.
I mean, I wasn't there, but it rings to me like a health and wellness shop in the 1950s is pretty ahead of its time.
It is very much so. Yep. And he's the only game in town for this. So people are flocking to him from all over the place, and he's able to charge pretty high prices. I'm sort of yada-yadaing over the fact that he didn't just open this by himself. Somehow he was able to get some investors. He's not alone in this venture, but it apparently does really well right off the bat. So he's got celebrities and, attention seekers and press, and people are just interested in seeing what the hubbub about this is. Everybody's like, what is this? It's such a new thing. So I think he hit the nail on the head there. Not too long after that, though, he gets into another little tussle. This is in 1963. So he starts kind of hanging out, for lack of a better term, with a lady named Jean Ingram, who's a well-known actress at the time. And her husband, Robert, believes there's something going on. She's hanging out with Jim an awful lot. And the conflict slowly starts to escalate over time. Robert catches them one day, and they're doing a little smooching. And now they both claim, "Oh, that's the first time it happened. He just happened to catch us this time." It's all very suspicious, but Robert is none too pleased with his wife doing this. And at one point catches them and then says, "If I see you again, I'm going to kill you." Basically, he's like, "I'm going to murder you." So Jim...
Nice of him to give that advance warning.
Yeah. So yeah, Jim's like, "Oh, okay. I'll guess I'll be on the lookout for that." And then Robert comes knocking around his apartment, and he's looking for Jean, who actually genuinely is not there at this time, but he doesn't believe that. He's like, "Where's Jean? Where's she at?" And he's like, she's not here. And he's like, you got 5 seconds to get her out here or I'm going to make good on my promise. And he pulls out a gun. And Jim at that point claims, he says this later, but he says as soon as he saw the gun come out, he knew he was going to kill Robert. He's like, I'm going to kill him now. And so he does a bunch of judo. I don't know what judo moves are exactly. But he hits him in the neck multiple times and grabs the gun and gets a hold of it somehow and shoots him. So the coroner's report isn't entirely clear because like the gunshot doesn't look like it probably killed him. They think the windpipe crushing did. So he gets convicted of voluntary manslaughter and he's convicted to serve 1 to 10 years, which is an interesting range.
That's a wide range of years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you hear like 6 to 10, you know? Not 1 to 10.
1 to 10. Yeah. It gives you quite the range of opportunities there. Mm-hmm. So he only serves a couple of months. It's not really clear why he gets out early. I'm assuming his gregarious good looks and good behavior. I really don't know, but he does get out. And this time he's got a record. This is not self-defense. He did not get off scot-free, but he did get off a little bit. So at this point, he's still running his first restaurant, but so
the restaurant's still doing fine.
The restaurant's been doing fine this whole time.
Huh.
It's actually doing quite well. He's making quite a bit of money and his investors are making quite a bit of money. But it's about 69 at this point. And he's like, you know what's real awesome? Marijuana, LSD, and amphetamines. These are my favorite things. These are a few of my favorite things.
Yeah, I think you just sang a Queens of the Stone Age song.
Specifically the amphetamines. He's into these little pills called Black Beauties, which I've heard of before. Apparently,
Mama's Little Helper.
Yeah, really good stuff from what I gather. Yeah, and he's a big fan. But as amphetamine use tends to do, he starts getting a little more sketched out, a little more not fully psychotic, but he's just getting weirder by the day. And eventually the investors are like, listen, Jim, you're not really doing anything except amphetamines. So we don't need you around the restaurant anymore. And they buy him out or push him out somehow. So he's no longer a part of that first restaurant. So he's kind of just goes off the deep end. People don't really see him for a while. And he reemerges as Father Yod. That's what he starts calling himself. I think the LSD has something to do with this.
It might. It may or may not. I was just looking up Black Beauties, and it's like a 50-50 amphetamine and dextroamphetamine. So like kind of similar to like Adderall nowadays. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that was a popular street term for them back then. Mm-hmm. You get the general sense that like amphetamines are pretty easy to come by back in those days. Like they were prescribed as diet pills and, I'm feeling low on energy. And they're like, well, try this.
We've got just the thing for you. You're going to feel great. You're going to have more energy than you know what to do with.
Absolutely. You're never going to sleep again.
That's right. Sleeps for the weak. So with all this newfound energy and a little investment from a hiker that he met on a trail, I should elaborate on this story a little bit more. I think this says a lot about how magnetic he is, because he's literally just hiking in the woods, as he's wont to do. And he meets a fellow. I don't think we have his actual name, but he's telling him, yeah, I come from the restaurant business. I had this really successful restaurant and blah, 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 blah. And I'm so good at this. And I know all about food. Here's some apple cider vinegar. Here's some Black Beauties. I don't know exactly how he got him to do it, but he gets 35 grand from this guy in 1969, which, is quite a bit of money at the time. I don't know exactly what it is. I bet it's probably in the neighborhood of, off the top of my head,
like 300 grand.
300 grand.
Yeah. 300, 400 grand.
Yeah. Which is a lot to give a guy on a trail.
It is a considerable amount of money to give a man that you just meet out in the wilderness.
Listen, man, I got to open a restaurant, man.
Unless you're being like threatened in some way.
Yeah, I don't get the vibe. I think he's like a legit investor as far as legit investors can go in this.
So he's a very convincing and captivating guy.
It has to be. Or this guy's a real buffoon that somehow ended up with the modern equivalent of 300 grand to just fart out. I guess it's kind of weird.
Yeah, there's always two sides of those things where it's like one guy that's always like on the hunt for an opportunity where he could, cleave some money off somebody, and another guy who has to be made to feel like just through sheer dumb chance, I happen to bump into this guy with this great idea and it's super unique. And, I can't believe I'm just bumped into this guy on a trail, and not this guy's like hiking the trails all day looking for people that he can corner out in the woods and shake down for some money.
How could I not believe Father Yod?
Continue.
So, yet again, on the Sunset Strip, where things be happening, he opens the Source. That's what it's known as. It's called the Source. And it's kind of the same thing. Sprouts, fresh juices, carrot juice is like the highlight there. A lot of organic vegetables, whole grains, legumes. And it's kind of framed as like spiritual fuel. It's very much taking it a step further into like, this is not just a vegetable because vegetables are good for you. This is going to heal your spirit. It's going to make you a better person by eating this stuff. Now, there are some places that have said this place is fully vegetarian and doesn't do any meat. And then some places say, no, they had some meat products and it was viewed as a more like holistic thing. Most people seem to think it was, at least by the end, almost like a full raw vegan place. So maybe it evolved over time, but that seems to be the general consensus is very large focus on fresh fruits and vegetables, which is not a bad thing, but they take it a little bit further than I think we would like them to. So this is when he's really hitting the big time. He's making all kinds of money. He is rolling in the money, and we know as people who like to look at businesses, that's kind of rare in the restaurant industry.
It tends to be. Yeah.
I think he's maybe getting those fresh veggies on a good deal and providing a significant markup on them would be my assumption.
The spirituality thing helps.
Yeah.
I think he can probably charge quite the premium for a carrot juice that's going to restore, your body. We still do that, by the way, especially like with juices. I don't know what it is about vegetable juices that they seem to attach themselves to, like, this will cure you of whatever. Like I enjoy the kombuchas, what's the main like bottle brand that you always see everywhere.
Oh, there's a bunch of them
kombucha
here. Oh,
GTs.
yeah.
They're like the OG. And it's really good. I like it. It's a nice ginger kombucha. But if you like read the story on it, the guy's like, I started making this to cure my mother's cancer. And she drank this kombucha and it cured her cancer. And now she's totally fine. And I'm like, man, I like the kombucha. I don't believe all of that exactly.
Right. I believe it's good for your digestion.
Can't I just drink this drink because it's tasty?
Yeah, I think you can. I think that's okay.
Okay.
But this speaks to kind of what we were saying even more when we go through the list of celebrities that love this place. And the first one, I bet you can guess. The celebrity couple in 1969-ish that would love this place. And when I say it, you'll be like, yes.
John Lennon and Yoko Ono?
You nailed it.
Ah, man.
Yeah. They love it. And they use it as kind of like not just a place they like to go, but it was a little bit of a telegraph, like, hey, look, we're doing something unique and different for our spirituality here.
Which is very funny because if you check out one of our earlier episodes about the Hollywood Vampires Drinking Club, that's like a year or two later that John Lennon's just drinking an unbelievable amount of liquor every single freaking day. But at this time, just slightly before, he is riding the carrot juice high. He's never been healthier.
And I wanted to include this, but I'll try to just be brief with it because I am just glazing over so many things. There's a full 2-hour documentary on this, multiple podcasts. We're just adding to the pile here. And there's no way we're going to be able to fit every little detail about this wonderfully weird, horrible man into this, into all this. But one thing I kind of yada over in his between the Marines period is he had multiple families and was drinking very heavily despite being the health food guy. And he abandoned those families. So, which I guess is technically in his DNA. His father did the same thing. Brutal. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. So he's not got a great track record despite being like, look how spiritual I am, everyone.
When did that happens?
Yeah, it seems to be a thing, right? So Marlon Brando, also a big fan, Warren Beatty, and then a lot of what people call yippies, which it was a term that I'd forgotten was a thing. Basically, yuppies that are hippies. So rich hippies.
Oh, that's a good term.
Yeah.
That's very much still a thing.
It is I feel like most of the people you see that are a hippie probably fall into that category.
Also of note, Marlon Brando would like basically from this moment forward begin gaining inordinate amounts of weight and not ever stop for the next like 3 decades. Warren Beatty too. I was just watching. I saw All the President's Men in theaters last Thursday, in fact. And that's like 76, 77 that it came out.
I think so.
And
yeah.
Warren Beatty's a big boy in that. So none of these people, no one that you've like delivered to me yet that is frequenting this restaurant would have like a fantastic and incredibly healthy next 10 years of their life.
I mean, if they just go in, they're like, you know what? We're going to eat nothing but carbs for the rest of our lives.
And that's the hard, like, so I'm a fan of smoothies. I'll juice a carrot. I'm not a big juicer. The problem with the juicing is that, like, yes, a carrot is like, there's no amount of carrots that you can eat really that's going to be bad for you because the like fiber of the carrot takes up some space.
You can't physically fit that many carrots in you before you'd OD on carrots.
But if you start juicing that stuff, you can eat the sugar out of like 80 carrots in a day, which is not how that was supposed to work.
No, you got to be careful when you're doing the juicing. It's good. It's a good thing to do, but you got to be aware of how much you're putting in there.
Yeah,
you can really cram a lot in there. Yeah.
Like similarly, like, I don't know if you've ever had like sugar cane itself, like raw sugar cane. It's tasty and sweet. Like I've had it in a drink and you can like kind of gnaw on it and it's sweet and stuff. But like there is no amount of like actual whole sugar cane that you could manage to eat that I'm convinced could be that bad for you. It's once you refine all that stuff down into something, then anything could happen.
That makes a lot of sense. And one final note on the celebrity aspect of the source. It was iconic enough to be referenced in Woody Allen's film Annie Hall, which admittedly I have not seen.
It's in Annie Hall?
Yeah. Yep. The protagonist famously orders alfalfa sprouts and mashed yeast. So it's a direct nod
Annie
to
Hall.
the source.
I
haven't seen it.
We lost Diane Keaton last year. I was just reading in the New York Times Magazine remembrance of her. She dated Warren Beatty around this time. Makes sense. She was dating Woody Allen and then dated Warren Beatty thereafter, and other people like that. Maybe Jack Nicholson. I can't remember.
Who did Jack Nicholson date?
Yeah, I heard a good story about Jack Nicholson yesterday, actually, but I don't think I can repeat it.
We'll get that one off the air. We'll get that one off the air too.
I'll go with a brief edited version. A guy was talking. I can't remember who it was, but Jack Nicholson had dated his mother, and he was talking about it. And he had a stalker at the time, and it came up, and he told his mother, like, "Hey, just so you know, there's this woman. She's a stalker. Like, you might see her. She calls the house. She sends letters, etc. You know, everyone knows about it. Just like no." And one day, she comes over and she's there. Jack Nicholson's there. And the woman like knocks on the door and like he answers it. He's like, oh God. And he tells, his girlfriend like, hey, get out of here. Like I'll handle this. And so she goes, out of the house, out the back or whatever. And Jack Nicholson's talking to her or whatever. And she's, sitting back there like, oh, a little worried and gives a little bit of time, hoping he can kind of like dispense with her. And she goes back in after a little while and doesn't see Jack anywhere. And so she's looking around the house and she goes upstairs to the bedroom and opens the door. And there's Jack Nicholson and the stalker lady on her knees in front of Jack Nicholson.
I see. Yes.
She's like, what are you doing? This is a stalker like this. And he's like, well, hey, she offered. I'm not going to say no to that. And then the woman broke up with Jack Nicholson.
That sounds like Jack Nicholson. I've heard that story before. Yes. And I don't know if it's true, but it sounds like Jack Nicholson for sure.
It sounds about right.
Yeah. So there is another weird thing that happens right around this time. And this is the start of when the cult really starts picking up steam. So he meets a lady named Robin Popper. Now it's worth noting that Robin is only 19 at the time. And this guy seems to have an interest in younger people. He's be in his late 40s at this time. So this is kind of a par for the course for him. But he meets Robin. I don't know if she worked there or how he met her, but he met her at the source. And they take an interest in each other and, the whole hippie spiritual thing. And eventually they start dating. But the way they start dating is he's like, hey, I would like you to come with me on this date tonight. She's like, oh, I don't know. He's like, come on, let's do it. Let's go out. And so she says yes. And the reason she didn't want to go is because she was supposed to go over to her friend Sharon's house. And the next day, they wake up to find something out that's rather horrible, because that was the night that Sharon Tate was murdered. Sharon Tate was Robin Popper's friend. And so they took that as like, we're meant to be together. Like I saved you from Charles Manson, basically, which they didn't, obviously that night, nobody really knew what was going on. They didn't know that it was a weird cult led by a weird guy. And she was just going to go join another weird cult led by a weird guy. But it's crazy. And I wonder if there's something about maybe specifically California at this time, or just culture in general at this time, there's a lot of culty activity that takes off during this era, this like kind of late 60s to late 70s period. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens that's kind of similar around that time. I don't know if we just got better at identifying it, or if it was truly just popping off everywhere. But this guy's not that far off from Charles Manson. It's a very different vibe, but he's not like worlds apart in the way that he wants to operate. Mm-hmm. Though he is worlds apart in the fact that his restaurant's killing it. His restaurant is absolutely slaying it. He gets a Rolls Royce, and he's balling out of control at this point. But he's also starting to really form the essence of this cult, and he's getting young teenagers to join it. 20 somethings, a lot of runaways, children of wealthy children who are just kind of, or wealthy parents that are kind of disengaged and disenfranchised. And he just kind of offers them food, shelter, a place to live, a purpose with like this whole spirituality thing, and a literal father. Because remember, he's Father Yod. So he's kind of replacing the dad in this, even though he didn't have a dad himself. And let's not forget, abandoned his other families and responsibilities to do all this stuff.
Well, how could he have the time?
That's true.
He's got all these children.
And how could he have the time? Indeed. He has them on a strict schedule. You've got to wake up at 4 a.m., Scott, every day, 4 a.m. And as soon as you start getting up, you need to start chanting Father Yod's name repetitively.
Sure.
And then you got to go into, this will sound familiar, cold water immersion immediately. You got to get in the cold water immersion. It's going to heal what ails you. Then we're going to do push-ups on our fingertips. We're going to do pull-ups. We're going to be doing some very vigorous calisthenic exercises. Calisthenics, as you noted, interesting trend with some of these weird groups. Back in our Shags episode, there was a lot of calisthenics involved there too. I like calisthenics. I don't know why this seems to happen in groups like, probably just because it's something everybody can at least start doing without equipment. Maybe.
I mean, creating order and structure to people's days is like definitely a hallmark of culty behavior. That's you exert control in these minor ways. Decreasing their sleep is always a great one. And this is one reason why I refuse to be like an early morning 4, 5, 6 a.m. person. All the cults, they make you wake up that early. There must be something to it. I agree. And everyone I know that wakes up that early are pretty weird and culty about it.
They're like, why don't you?
They're like, oh, you've got to. You have to.
You got to.
Try waking up at 4. It's amazing. I'm like, and then what do I do?
Well, the thing is, I have done that before. It used to be like part of my work schedule. It's not better than what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
It's not.
I don't want to do it at all. Nothing's even open.
No, nothing's open. What are you going to do? You going to journal? I can journal. I can journal whenever I want. I don't have to do it at 4.
No, not for me.
Anyway, grueling calisthenics. You're working real hard. You get done with that. What's the first thing you're going to do, Scott?
I don't know. I feel like I should tell you briefly that it is calisthenics.
Calisthenic?
Calisthenics.
Yeah, but I'm not going to say it right because I've been.
No,
it's like I sometimes say espresso. I know it's espresso, but I can't stop.
It's all right. I just want, someone out there is listening and they're like, it's calisthenics, you loon. And I want them to know that I'm not with you.
Oh, you are with me, though, whether you like it or not. No, you're together. We are together, bonded, kind of like Father Yod would like us to be.
Please
What
continue.
is the first thing you want to do after grueling exercise? What's the first thing you'd like to do? Eat?
If I haven't eaten this day already.
No, can't do it. First thing you got to do is take a full 6-second drag off of a marijuana cigarette. That's the first thing you got to do. And
exactly
it was very specific
6 seconds?
that it had to be 6 seconds. And I did go ahead and one Mississippi that. That's it's a long drag to me.
Pretty big hit.
Yeah. It's not a small one. Yeah. 6 seconds. That as soon as you're done, that's the first. So you're yeah. And one of the members said the thing about this routine is once you would do all this stuff, the cold water, the calisthenics. I'm just going to say it.
It means so much to me.
Statistics. I can't do it. Calisthenics. There we go. I did it. Never again. And then you take a big hit. You're going to feel not just high from weed. He's like, it felt more like acid. You were really, really tripping because your body's just going through all these crazy shifts. Take a big hit of weed and it does not feel like weed, at least according to this guy. And then immediately we're going to do chanting. Repetitive chanting. And it kind of just puts them all in this trance-like state where they're open to Father Yod's suggestions. So this goes on for quite a while. Father Yod ends up being like, hey, Robin, I know you're my good lady wife here, but what I could really use is 13 more.
Every time, every single cult, it always goes to here.
I really need 13. And she actually, this is I think a little bit of a cult rarity. She was like, I think you're a dirty old man. Is what I think. Yeah. She didn't sign up for, she did not sign up for that. She thought, because one of the cult's original sayings was the man and woman were bonded together forever. And she's like, wait a minute, what happened to that? And he's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean we're not bonded. It just means I'm bonded with 13 other people. A bunch of people. Well. Yeah. Yeah. Don't you understand, you silly lady? So yeah, she's not a fan of this, but obviously she gets overruled and he does it anyway. It's also worth noting, it's kind of a little hard to tell. A lot of these wives are not wives. They're children. They're very young, at least older teenagers. So he's doing that thing too. And the parents are starting to come knocking. Where's our kids? They've been hanging out of this weird cult restaurant. Where are the kids? So the pressure's starting to Doom
style.
Yeah. Trying to get applied a little bit. And here is how all this ties in to tape spaghetti, because music becomes mandatory. The music becomes a central part of this whole thing, but it's really weird in how they go about it because it's declared spiritually mandatory. You have to do these musical sessions with us. But if you're good at it, if you're good at your instrument, you're not just a talented musician, Scott. No, your ego's too big. You're doing something bad if you're good at your music. You can't be skilled at your instrument. That's your ego talking, because that means you've been practicing. You can't be practicing. Practicing is forbidden because that feeds the ego. That makes you think that you're better than everybody else and not just one with everyone and Father Yod himself, the one true Father. At this point, he is calling himself a god. He's really I am not just a man. I am God here on earth. And he's the only one who has authority over anything at this point. So they get around together and they start recording this stuff. They record live to tape. It's kind of a DIY. It's not like a super high quality recording session or anything. And they call themselves the Yahweh 13. That's 3 separate words. Yahweh. So if you want to look it up, it's out there. Instruments include multiple drum kits, usually played by completely novice drummers, congas, bongos, electric guitars, and bass. the harmonium, which was an instrument that I didn't realize I was familiar with. I didn't know what that was. It's kind of a combination. It's a good name.
Oh yeah. It's like a hand pumped organ.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
It's a hand pump. It's got like a bellows on it, kind of like a accordion. Yep, and you push it in and out, but you're playing the keys like a keyboard. It actually sounds really cool. Flutes, various hand percussion things like tambourines and shakers and all that stuff. And so they just hit the tape. We're recording, completely unedited, and usually these things are anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes, and it's just repetition. Usually it's like 2 chords, dur, 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 and there's just chants and these weird sermon-like songs, and he's like directing the energy in one way or other. It's all Father Yod just up there doing his thing. And the thing is, I don't know why they made these records. They made them and pressed them, but he was like, no, we're not selling these. We don't want anybody to listen to them. We don't want to tour with it. This is just to document like the obedience of the cult or something, maybe for themselves to listen back and kind of remember what those experiences were like. I don't really know why. And if anybody critiques those records, if anybody heard them and was like, this is not very good, they would blame the listener. They're like, oh no, man, you just don't get it. It's your problem. You're the one who doesn't understand. And they do a lot of records. They did somewhere between 40 and 60 records like this in just a couple of years.
Whoa.
And this is the weird part. They pressed them and now they're collector's items. So the very thing they didn't want them to become, which was like consumerist, pieces of the capitalist machine, they are now expensive and collectible, and, hipsters like myself will probably like go look for them for just no reason at all. But it's
weird.
A
pretty wild piece of history to be able to own.
It's cool. I mean, it's creepy, but it's fascinating at the same time. But yeah, 40 to 60 records, all seemingly recorded in the same fashion. And it's weird that I don't know why it's so weird to me that it's like, we actively don't want you to get good at this, but yet we're going to make you do it over and over again. So you're naturally going to get better at it no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's a very strange acid fueled logic. It's not something I fully grasp, but yeah, it's basically and it was a label. It was a actual constructed thing on paper, but listeners are optional, I guess, for this thing. It's pretty weird. So it moves along, and like I said, the parents and the authorities are starting to poke their nose in. Like, hey, I think this might be more than a Sprouts restaurant. What's going on here? And parents are starting to speak publicly. Health inspectors are starting to come in and be like, hey, this doesn't look right. Oh, I forgot to mention the compound. So they had the restaurant, but they also had the compound where everybody lived. It was a big mansion, and they had 140 people in it. The owners of that mansion said, we don't want you here anymore. And they had to move into like a more typical 3-bedroom, 3-bath house. And that's where all the recordings took place. That was called the father's house. The original one was called the mother's house. This one's the father's house. And I don't know, it just sounds kind of funny. It's like, we're going to dad's house, so we're going to record a record. But at this point, like, things are really not looking good for them in California. And he gets obsessed with Hawaii, specifically Kauai.
Yeah, what's not to love?
Yeah, I know. It's beautiful, of course. Kauai especially is incredible. But they think, okay, we're going to go into this remote island and we're going to live off the land. Oh, I got an idea. We can just fish. We can be fisher people. That's how we're going to do it. We'll buy a plane so we can drive around in the sky, or fly, as some people might call it, and look for fish down below the water, as if you're an eagle, I guess.
We're going to dive down and catch it with our beaks.
They're going to radio down to the boat and be like, there's a shark over there. Go get it. I don't know what their plan was.
That's crazy.
It makes no sense because
I guess they didn't have fish finders back then. I mean, it could work.
I'm assuming you've been in a plane over water. You can't see any fish down there.
I think if you were low enough and the water was clear enough, you could see schools.
Probably. But couldn't you see them from a boat?
Scare the fish off. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think you'd see them
it can be difficult to see the schools from a boat. You don't have the same view. I support this crazy logic slightly more, but I don't I think that for the money it would cost you burning fuel on the plane, you could just buy a bunch of fish.
I would, from professional fishermen that live on Hawaii and know how to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you say it's expensive. I say they're going to just sell their successful restaurant to pay for all this. That's what they do. Yeah.
Sure.
I got an idea.
They found an infinite money glitch. The fish are just growing right there. All we have to do is buy the plane once and we can have infinite fish.
And the boat. Yeah, they're doing that. Okay. So that's their plan. So they go to Kauai. They start trying to do this. They get some on-land locations. People are starting to catch on, both internally and externally. So a lot of the group has vanished at this point. I do not believe they're anywhere near the 140 members that they had. They couldn't physically fit them in the father's house, first of all. So I don't know how many they lost through that process. But they get to Kauai, and people on Kauai are basically like, you can leave.
You guys go home.
You have children with you? What are you doing? Like
no, these are my wives. I can see how you made that mistake.
This is a child bride. Emphasis on the bride.
Not a child.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous.
That's insane. You guys just don't understand. Let me educate you. I'm Father Yod. But they're not having it. The cops start kind of like harassing them. There are claims that people shot at their house. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but they claim that they were shot at. The pressure's on in Kauai too. People don't want them. I don't know who specifically, but one podcast I was listening to suggested that there had been other cult activity on Kauai, and they had been like, no, we've seen this before. We're not doing this again. So they were mostly running out of space. People were starting to catch on that this ain't it, Father. And so Father Yod starts thinking. He's like, what am I going to do? How do I get out of this? And he one day is sitting around and he's like, hey, let's all do mushrooms. All right, why not? Let's do some mushrooms about it. So they do mushrooms and they go on a hike. This is with his closest, most innermost circle. And he gets them on this hike up a mountain in Kauai. And he turns to them and says, hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm not God. like basically everything you've been following for the last,
it's all bullshit.
However long, it's complete nonsense. It's all fabricated. I have no powers. I have no abilities. I have no anything. And you can imagine that this is not exactly what they want to hear.
I assume they're like, this is a test. Father is testing us.
They reject the denial. They're like, no, you have to be. You have to be because. And he's like, no, I'm not. They're like, no, you have to be. And the whole system rejects this. So they still, even after he's like, no, I'm not who I say I am. They're like, yes, you are, whether you like it or not. And he's kind of stuck. And not too long after that, he's still doing a little more substances. This is August 25th, 1975. And he goes, I think I want to hang glide. I think I'm going to hang glide. Okay. Seems like a thing to do in Hawaii.
Yeah.
His wife, Robin, is like, hey, you've never done any hang gliding. You have no idea how to hang glide.
How hard could it be? The wind does all the work.
And that was kind of his attitude. He's like, look, it's windy. Things are blowing up. What could go wrong? And so they're going up the cliffside because he is the almighty father. And he's going up the cliffside with his hang glider and kind of doing their whole chanting thing as they're going up the cliff. And he encounters a random hiker. And the hiker has no idea what's going on. They just see this guy in white robes going up the cliff. And he says in Latin, and I'm not about to try to butcher this Latin, but translated to English, he says, we who are about to die salute you, to this random hiker that he passes. So he gets up to the top. He's like, all right, here we go. I think those are exact words, actually. If you look
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts. And he jumps off with his hang glider. And the wind does not do what he said it was going to do. He went straight down and crashed into the rocks. Hundreds and hundreds of feet.
I shouldn't laugh. That's like horrible. I can just picture the movie in my head. It was like, all right. And then...
Yeah, it feels like a Coen Brothers movie.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. See you in the funny papers. So he goes straight down. I'm not sure exactly how tall the cliff was that he fell off of, but a long ways, long ways. They saw him splat on the rocks below. So, of course, they run down, and he's actually not dead. He is broken. His back is broken. He's got severe internal bleeding, but he's still alive. And he's trying to use some like Kundalini yoga techniques. He's like, we can rechannel the pain. It'll be okay. He's not doing good. So they try to like chant and meditate him back, and he dies, depending on the report, hours to days later. I think it's probably likely a couple hours, because that's a pretty
that's tough,
gnarly splat. But that's it. He dies. His followers note, and this is actually a real thing, that there was a new star born shortly after. They believe that it's Father Yod up there in the sky. Yeah.
Well, of course. Why not? Why shouldn't it be?
Most people think it was just a new star that was born, because that does happen from time to time, but they're going with it was Father Yod. The cult slowly dissolves over time. And as we talked about, the recordings get rather famous amongst record collectors who are looking for this kind of stuff. And though the cult faded into obscurity, the records live on, and you can still listen to them to this day. Some people, when they originally found them, were like, oh, this is some crazy outsider art, without really knowing the story. It's like a psychedelic artifact type of thing. Mm-hmm. But I think most people just view it as like a weird cult artifact. And it was a crazy story. So yeah,
now you, listener at home, can get the complete collection of Father Yod's string band's CDs for a low price of $19.99. But that's not all. If you buy today, we will also include a 5-year supply of our world famous soups that can last you off many years into nuclear winter.
Oh, it's so good.
All this for $19.99.
Man, at that point, you can't afford not to.
You'd be a fool.
You're losing money if you don't do this.
Thanks to your friends at Time Life. The complete collection. Yeah. Well, that was a wild trip, Blake. Mm-hmm. Wild trip.
That's the story that's the very compressed story of Yahweh. He was not a good man. He was bad basically all the way through, and managed to convince a lot of people that he wasn't.
Wild life this guy lived, though. Mm-hmm. The people like this that are around, I mean, they not all of them, but often you're like, he did a lot of stuff in your life. I mean, not a good dude, not by any means, but I mean, it wasn't boring. I
mean, we're here talking about it for a reason, because it's wildly interesting, wildly inappropriate, but wildly interesting.
That's crazy, man. Mm-hmm. Absolutely wild.
Yep. There you go. That's what I got for you on this episode of Tape Spaghetti. I did not expect to cover this, but once I saw it, I was like, well, I gotta
have it.
Yeah. I've got to.
Well, I learned plenty new today, because I didn't know anything about this story at all. Mm-hmm. And now I do.
Thank you. Now I know how to say
thank you, dear Blake. Mm-hmm. Calisthenics?
Calisthenics. Calisthenics?
You're doing a fantastic job.
Calisthenics.
Well, since you did all the legwork this week, I shall wrap us up. Dear listeners, we want to say thank you very much for making it through another episode of our podcast. We have a lot of fun doing it. We hope that you guys out there enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, please, more than anything, let a friend know that you should check this out. Send this episode or another episode to somebody that you think would really enjoy it. If you're on any of the platforms that allow comments, such as YouTube or Spotify, please leave us a comment. Let us know how you liked this episode. Do you want more like this? Do you have a different topic that you want to hear us explore? Let us know. We read them all and always check them all out. And on any platform that you're on, please remember to follow this podcast, like and subscribe, as the kids say these days, so that you can get more just like this. From Scott and Blake, once again, thank you. We'll catch you next week.
Later, Hosen.